You navigate the world using your senses.
Right. Absolutely.
You trust your eyes to tell you what's right in front of you. You trust your sense of touch to tell you what's hot or cold.
Mm-hmm.
And probably most intimately, you trust your ears.
Yeah, your hearing it's a very primal thing.
Exactly. You trust your ears to tell you who is in the room with you. When your phone rings and you pick it up, there's that split second where you hear the voice on the other end.
Yep.
A spouse, a parent, a child, your best friend.
Yeah.
And your brain just instantly clicks into this state of absolute recognition. You know that voice.
You've heard it a million times.
All right, you've heard it a million times. You trust that voice on a fundamental biological level.
Oh, what?
But what happens when our ears lie to us?
That is the big question right now.
It is. What happens when the biological mechanisms we have relied on for literally hundreds of thousands of years to recognize our tribe, our family, are just suddenly hacked by code?
It's terrifying when you actually step back and look at it.
It really is. And that is exactly what we are getting into today. So welcome to this deep dive. Today we are unpacking a truly urgent briefing we've been going over. It's a guide focused entirely on AI voice deepfakes. It's titled 15-Day AI Voice Deepfake.
Yeah, it's a very urgent document.
Very urgent. And our mission for this deep dive is to tear apart this very specific, rapidly growing digital fraud threat. Because as we get into this, as you'll see, it becomes abundantly clear that this isn't just a technology issue. It is a deeply human vulnerability.
It really is. And, I think we need to establish the gravity of the situation right from the jump here.
Please do.
Because we are living through a quiet yet incredibly profound paradigm shift in human history.
That's a strong way to put it, but yeah.
I mean, think about it. For centuries, the gold standard of truth was visual, right?
Seeing is believing.
Exactly. Seeing is believing. But over the phone or across a radio wave or a digital connection, hearing was believing. If it sounded exactly like your mother, well, it was your mother.
Because there was no other physical possibility.
Right. There was no machine that could just perfectly mimic her. What we have to grapple with today, right now, is the end of that era.
Wow.
This isn't science fiction anymore. It isn't a plot point in a spy movie with billion-dollar budgets. We are actively transitioning into a world where hearing is no longer proof of identity.
Hearing is no longer proof of identity. That is a massive shift.
It fundamentally breaks how we interact with society, how we do business, and honestly, how we protect our families on a daily basis.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to make sure you listening to this right now understand exactly why this matters to you today, right this second.
It applies to everyone.
Everyone. Whether you are a parent dropping your kids off at school, a professional managing a remote team, or just someone who uses WhatsApp to send quick voice notes to your group chats. This deep dive is meant to be your armor.
We are building a mental firewall today.
Yes, a mental firewall together against one of the fastest growing digital threats on the planet. So let's get right into the anatomy of a voice clone. The what and the how.
Let's do it.
So the core concept is pretty straightforward, right? Artificial intelligence voice cloning. It's using software to copy a person's voice so accurately that it sounds entirely real.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly where I started getting genuinely unsettled reading the source material. There is a rule of thumb for this technology mentioned in the text. The 10 to 30 second rule.
Yeah, the 10 to 30 second rule. This is the part that shocks most people.
It shocked me. It only takes 10 to 30 seconds of your audio to clone your voice. I mean, think about that. 10 seconds.
That's nothing.
It's a single laugh in the background of a video clip. That's a quick voicemail saying, I'm running late. It was a terrifyingly low barrier to entry.
Very low.
But I have to ask, and maybe I'm just being skeptical here.
Yeah.
How is that even possible? 10 seconds of audio doesn't contain every word in the English language.
No, of course not.
If I talk for 10 seconds, I might not use a word with the letter Z or X. So how can an AI possibly know how we pronounce those sounds if they aren't even in the clip?
That is exactly the right question to ask. And it highlights why this technology is so revolutionary compared to the old text-to-speech systems from, say, 10 years ago.
Right, those old robotic voices.
Exactly. To understand how it does this, we have to look at what the AI is actually doing with those 10 seconds. A few years ago, you were right. Training an AI to speak like someone required hours of pristine studio-quality audio.
You had to sit in a booth and read a script.
Right. You had to read hundreds of phonetically diverse sentences so the computer had a sample of every single sound you could possibly make. But modern algorithms, they don't work like a soundboard anymore.
Oh,
They don't just cut and paste audio clips of you saying specific letters. They build a mathematical model of your vocal tract.
wait. A mathematical model of my vocal tract, like the actual physical shape of my throat.
Essentially, yes, the AI analyzes the texture of your speech. Our source guide breaks down exactly what the models are analyzing. It looks at several specific parameters. First, pitch.
Like how high or low your voice sits?
Exactly. Then tone, which is the resonance and the warmth. It maps your accent and your specific speaking style. So even if you never say a word with the letter Z in that 10-second clip,
And the AI can just guess.
better than guess, it has mapped the physical properties of your voice so accurately that it can mathematically predict exactly how your vocal cords, your tongue, and your teeth would interact to produce a Z sound.
That is wild.
It interpolates the missing data based on the acoustic physics of the sounds it did hear.
So it's not just playing a recording. It's practically building a digital clone of my vocal cords inside a computer.
That's a great way to visualize it.
And looking at the breakdown of what these models analyze in the text, the two parameters that really gave me chills are the ability to clone breathing patterns and emotional expression,
Yeah, that's the frontier.
capturing a breath, a sigh. Because when you think about those old school robotic voices from the 90s, like the ones you'd hear on automated customer service lines, the reason they sounded so glaringly fake was that they didn't need to breathe.
Right, they never ran out of air.
They just produced this endless, unnatural stream of perfectly articulated words.
And that brings us to the uncanny valley. What makes a voice sound undeniably human? It isn't perfection.
It's the imperfections.
Exactly. It's the slight hesitation. It's that micro intake of breath before you start a difficult sentence. It's the way your pitch wavers imperceptibly when you're tired or anxious.
Right.
By programming the AI to map and replicate those breathing patterns and emotional expressions, the technology bridges that uncanny valley. It fills in the biological gap.
It's hacking our ears.
Totally. When the AI mimics the way you inhale, it completely fools the auditory processing center of the listener's brain. The listener's brain hears that breath and unconsciously registers, ah, human with lungs is speaking to me.
Wow.
It bypasses our analytical defenses entirely.
So how does a scammer actually pull this off? Our source details a 3-step cloning process that these bad actors use. Let's walk through it.
Let's do it.
Step 1 is the harvest, the voice sample collection. And the thing that strikes me here is that scammers aren't, like, hacking into some secure government vault to get your voice data.
Yeah, they don't need to.
They're just browsing the open web. The guide lists the sources. They pull from Instagram Reels, YouTube videos, WhatsApp voice notes, public interviews, and even just recording a normal phone call. This is what you call our audio footprint.
That phrase, audio footprint, is perfect. We all leave this behind daily without a second thought.
Yeah, constantly.
Every time you post a video wishing your friend a happy birthday online or upload a quick vlog of your vacation, you are depositing high-quality biometric data into a public arena.
And we just give it away for free.
We do, and the algorithms have gotten so good at isolating vocals that the audio doesn't even need to be perfect anymore. If there's background noise, wind, or music, the AI can strip that away and just isolate the frequencies of your voice.
Which brings us to step 2. Training the AI. So they have this harvested file, maybe a compressed audio file from a public video. What happens next?
The fraudster feeds that file into the AI software. This is the transition phase. The software dissects those metrics we just talked about, the pitch, the tone, the breath, and builds that digital acoustic model.
How long does that take?
It used to take days of massive computing power. Now, it can be done in minutes, sometimes seconds, using cloud-based processing.
Seconds. That's terrifying.
It's fully automated and incredibly cheap. The scammer doesn't need to be a software engineer. They don't need to know how to code. They just need to know how to upload an audio file and click a button that says Generate Model.
And then we hit step 3, which is text-to-speech generation. This is the part that feels like a horror movie to me.
It is the terrifying climax of the process.
Because once the AI has digested your voice sample, the scammer literally just opens a text box. They type out a sentence, any sentence in the world, and the AI speaks it out loud in your exact cloned voice.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate digital puppeteer. Imagine someone sitting in a dark room halfway across the world, typing out sentences on a keyboard, and out of their speakers comes your voice, saying things you have never said, with your exact inflection, your exact laugh, your exact pauses.
It's a complete hijacking of your identity.
It is a hijacking. And it's vital to understand why this specific type of hijacking is so uniquely dangerous. We have to shift our focus from the technology itself to the psychology of the target.
The person receiving the call.
Right, because there's a fundamental truth we have to grapple with here. The text explicitly states, humans trust voice emotionally.
Yes. We are hardwired to trust voices emotionally.
Which brings up this concept of emotional urgency from the source. When a familiar voice sounds panicked or in pain, it creates an immediate, involuntary physiological response.
That's the danger zone. When we hear a familiar voice, the logical, analytical part of our brain takes a back seat, and the emotional, relational part of our brain takes the wheel.
We just react.
We don't scrutinize the voice of a loved one, we just respond to it. If you hear your child crying for help, your heart rate spikes, your palms sweat, adrenaline floods your system.
You're not thinking about AI.
Not at all. You aren't sitting there analyzing the audio fidelity or wondering if the cadence is slightly off. You are in full-blown fight-or-flight mode. Your brain is being hacked by your own evolutionary biology.
But hold on. Even if I hear a panicked voice, wouldn't I look at my phone and see a weird number? Like if I get a call from an international code or a number I don't recognize, my guard is immediately upright.
And that is where the scam becomes a masterpiece of manipulation. The scammers combine this biological hack with a technological one. Caller ID can also be spoofed.
Okay, we need to break that down. How is it even possible for someone to make my phone say mom or my son when it's not them calling?
Think of caller ID like the return address on a physical envelope. Anyone can write from mom on an envelope and drop it in the mail. The post office doesn't run a DNA test to verify if mom actually sent it. They just read what's written on the outside and deliver it to your mailbox.
Oh, wow.
Telecom networks often work the exact same way with caller ID data. The underlying architecture of our phone network systems built decades ago, they weren't designed with cryptographic security in mind.
So it's an honor system, basically.
Basically, yeah. A scammer uses software to attach a fake return address to their digital call packet. So your phone receives the call, reads the fake return address, matches it to your contacts, and displays My Daughter on the screen.
That creates a perfect storm for the victim.
Yeah.
Let's look at the cognitive load in that exact moment. Your phone rings.
Yeah.
Your eyes look at the screen and see your child calling. That's the visual confirmation.
Right.
Then you put the phone to your ear and you hear their exact voice, trembling and terrified. That's the auditory confirmation.
2 independent data points.
Exactly. The brain receives 2 independent, highly trusted data points, confirming the identity of the caller. At that point, the illusion of familiarity is absolute. There is no reason for your brain to doubt reality.
Precisely. And that perfect storm is the foundation for the most devastating scams currently operating.
Let's get into the anatomy of those actual scams. How does this play out in the real world? There is a highly specific, very common scam template detailed in the sources. It's prevalent in India, but the exact same playbook is being deployed globally.
It's everywhere.
The guide quotes it directly, Papa, main bowl, rahahun, which translates to, Dad, I am speaking. Let's walk through the script. The parent picks up the phone, expecting a normal call, and immediately hears, Papa, I am speaking, phone broke, emergency, send money.
Let's break down the sheer theatricality of this because it's a brilliantly engineered piece of social engineering. The scammer doesn't just have the AI read the text in a flat conversational tone.
Right, because that wouldn't work.
Exactly. As we discussed with the technology's capabilities, the crucial detail is that the voice is trembling. The scammer actively prompts the software to generate speech that sounds breathless, terrified, or in pain.
They add the emotion.
They do. The parent receives a call, their child's name is on the caller ID, and their child's exact panicked voice is begging for help.
And the claim that the phone is broken is so calculated.
It is. It provides a built-in excuse for everything.
Right, because if the scammer hasn't bothered to spoof the caller ID and is calling from an unknown number, the child says, my phone broke, I'm borrowing a stranger's phone.
Yep, it covers their tracks.
And if the audio quality of the AI generation is slightly degraded or robotic, the broken phone explains the bad connection. It preemptively answers the logical questions the victim might ask.
It's incredibly manipulative.
And the scammers have a whole menu of emergencies to justify the panic. It's never a low-stakes request.
Never.
Our source lists the high-stakes scenarios they use. An accident, a police case, a hospital emergency, or a kidnapping threat.
The worst things a parent can imagine.
Exactly. If someone calls and says, hey, I lost my wallet, can you send me $20 for lunch? You might pause and ask questions. But if your child's voice says, I've been in an accident. I'm bleeding. Please send money to the hospital's account. Right now, you aren't asking questions. You are reaching for your wallet.
Which leads to the tragic reveal mentioned in the text. The parent, completely overwhelmed by the manufactured emotional urgency, transfers the money immediately.
You just send it.
They wire the funds, or they use a digital payment app. And then, usually minutes or hours later, the adrenaline wears off, the panic subsides.
And they realize what happened.
They manage to get hold of their actual child on their real phone, only to discover that the child was completely safe the entire time.
Sitting in a classroom.
Or at their desk at work, completely oblivious to what just happened, and the voice was a total fabrication.
The money is gone.
Huh?
But beyond the financial loss, the psychological violation is immense. You thought your child was dying or in jail. Your body felt the reality of that trauma.
And this forces us to look deeply at the psychology of the fraud. Why do smart people fall for it?
Yeah, why? Because people always think they wouldn't fall for it.
There is a profound insight from the source material we need to highlight here. It says, fraudsters understand psychology better than technology.
Fraudsters understand psychology better than technology. I
Yeah.
really want to dive into that. Because the technology is just the vehicle, right?
Exactly.
The actual weapon being used against you is your own mind. We see smart, educated people fall for this every single day.
All the time.
Let's deconstruct the emotional trigger. The source lists specific psychological tricks being unpacked here, exploiting parental instinct, fear, urgency, confusion, and emotional shock.
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism detailed in the text. It states plainly, when emotions go high, logical thinking shuts down.
When emotions go high, logical thinking shuts down.
This isn't just a metaphor. It is a literal neurological fact. The entire goal of the scammer is to prevent the victim from having the time or mental bandwidth to verify the situation.
They can't let you think.
Right. Time pressure is the weapon. Api Bejo, send it now.
So they are essentially trying to trigger a panic state where you literally cannot access the part of your brain that would say, wait, this doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know that if you have even 30 seconds of calm, logical thought, you will see through the scam.
You'll notice a weird phrasing.
Or you'll wonder why the hospital wants payment sent to a random app. Time pressure is the glue that holds the entire illusion together.
Okay, so knowing this, knowing that when emotions go high, logical thinking shuts down, how do we fight back? Because we can't just choose to stop feeling fear. If I hear my loved one in pain, I am going to panic.
Right, you can't turn off your biology.
So the material we're analyzing provides an ultimate safety rule, a mantra. And I enthusiastically want to introduce this to you, the listener, because this is the golden rule. This is your mental firewall.
It's the most important takeaway.
The mantra is emotion hi-ho, verification double, which translates to when emotions are high, double your verification.
Let's unpack that core philosophy. When emotions are intense, when they are high, you must deliberately slow down, verify independently, and never trust the sense of urgency.
It's about recognizing the panic as a trigger itself.
Exactly. Instead of the panic meaning act now, the panic becomes the warning sign that says, you are under attack, verify. Delay equals protection.
Delay equals protection. I love that. So how do we actually execute that delay in the heat of the moment? Our guide gives us a defense playbook.
5 steps.
5 actionable, practical steps to protect yourself. Let's break these down step by step so you, listening right now, know exactly how to apply them. Rule 1, always call back on a known number.
This is crucial.
The protocol is stark. If you get an emergency call, cut the call. Do not engage. Dial the saved number yourself, or better yet, initiate a video call.
Now, we need to acknowledge the psychological friction here because this step feels incredibly counterintuitive.
Hanging up on your crying kid, yeah.
If you genuinely believe your child is in a life or death situation, hanging up on them feels like a terrible betrayal of your parental instinct. Your brain is screaming at you to stay on the line.
So how do you push past that?
You have to connect it back to the spoofing technology we discussed. The incoming connection, that caller ID, is fundamentally compromised. By cutting that incoming connection and initiating the call yourself through your saved contacts, you are routing the communication through secure, verified telecom pathways.
Right, because if I dial the number saved in my phone, my outgoing call goes to the actual physical phone of my child. The scammer can't intercept my outgoing call.
Exactly. You force the communication onto a trusted channel. And initiating a video call instantly shatters the illusion. A video call is the fastest way to verify reality.
Okay, rule 2.
Yeah.
Use a family secret code word. This is brilliant.
It's a great low-tech solution to a high-tech problem.
Let's role play a quick example for the listener. Say I get a frantic call from someone sounding exactly like my brother, claiming he's in jail and needs bail money. Instead of panicking, I just ask, hey, what's our code word?
And if it's the scammer using an AI clone, they're completely stuck.
Because they don't know it.
Right. The AI might have a 10-second clip of your brother's voice, but it doesn't have access to his memories. A simple shared private family password acts as a cryptographic key that the AI cannot replicate.
And if they fail the test, the illusion is broken. You know it's a scam.
Instantly.
Moving on to rule 3. Never transfer money immediately.
We can't say this enough. Scammers rely entirely on speed. Forcing a delay is the ultimate defense.
If someone on the phone is pressuring you to wire money right this second, that pressure itself is the giant red flag. Just say you need 5 minutes to log into your bank.
That 5 minutes gives your logical brain the time it needs to boot back up and assess the situation.
Rule 4 is more proactive. Reduce public voice exposure. This connects right back to the 10 to 30 seconds rule. The source advises avoiding posting long voice notes publicly and being cautious with public interviews. So for you listening, it's time to audit your social media presence.
Definitely. You need to think about your digital footprint. Your voice is a biometric signature now. You wouldn't post a picture of your passport online, so you shouldn't deposit high-quality samples of your vocal identity publicly either.
Treat your voice like your password.
Exactly.
And finally, Rule 5. Verify through multiple channels. What does this mean in practice?
It's the concept of triangulation. Let's say you receive that panicked call. You hang up to call them back, but they don't answer.
Because maybe they're in a movie theater or driving.
Right. But in that silence, your panic spikes again. You think, what if it was real? This is when you triangulate. If you can't reach the person, call someone else.
Another family member?
Or their school, their office, or a close friend who might be nearby. If the scammer says your daughter was in an accident on her way to work, call her office immediately. Step outside the scammer's manufactured emotional bubble.
Okay, so we've covered the personal defense playbook, but we need to transition from personal scams to the broader macro threat mentioned in the text. This isn't just about family scams.
No, it scales up significantly. The corporate and political dangers are massive.
The source details how this targets business executives, specifically citing the cloning of CEOs to authorize massive transfers of company funds.
Imagine being a finance manager. You get a call from the CEO. You know his voice perfectly. He sounds stressed, told you about a confidential acquisition, and orders you to wire $30 million to an offshore account.
The authority bias there is incredible. You don't want to second-guess the boss and ruin a deal.
Precisely. The perfectly cloned CEO voice bypasses corporate security protocols just through sheer authority and manufactured urgency.
And it gets even bigger. The text mentions political misinformation. As AI improves, the ability to fake a politician's voice could have massive societal consequences.
We're talking about the weaponization of voice on a global scale. A deepfake audio clip dropping the night before an election, featuring a candidate saying something horrible.
It spreads virally in minutes.
And even if it's proven fake later, the damage is done. Societal trust is fractured.
Which brings us to the final, sobering truth from the source material. A true paradigm shift. Voice does not equal identity anymore.
It's a hard truth to accept.
Hearing a familiar voice is no longer proof of who is on the other end of the line. Verification is the only safety.
The only safety. We have to shift from implicit trust to mindful skepticism.
Let's wrap up this deep dive and summarize the final takeaway for the listener. The core rule here is pause, verify, then act. The technology is incredibly powerful, yes, but it relies completely on emotional manipulation to work.
Without your panic, the scam fails.
Exactly. By knowing the tricks, you take away the scammer's power. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over based on this premise that voice no longer equals identity.
It's a big question.
If we can no longer trust our own ears to tell us who we are talking to, how will this change the way we communicate over distance in the next decade?
Yeah, how will we adapt?
Will we all need digital watermarks
Yeah.
just to talk to our families on the phone? Will casual phone calls require some kind of cryptographic handshake just to prove we are who we say we are? It's a wild thought.
It is a brave new world for our ears.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay safe out there, and remember to double your verification.